Welcome to Smart Remarks, where we like the idea of bailing out the people who could really use it. So 3 years into our great financial quagmire, and the latest and greatest idea to save Europe and to save the world's financial system is to provide all sorts of easy dollars for European banks. Now, European banks are up to their eyeballs in Greek and Italian debt. They're on the hook for God knows how much in derivatives written on that debt. No one knows what the assets on their books are really worth, and that makes other institutions a little leery of lending to them. So here come the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, and other central banks riding to the rescue, providing access to the dollars the bank needs to keep going. And surely this is going to save the system. This time it's really going to do it, right? Right? But this brings up a point here. Ever since the financial crisis began, we've tried to solve it the same way by providing easy money to the biggest and most powerful institutions and ultimately individuals on the planet, the banks. None of it's worked, nothing's been solved, and so irrational people might say, well, maybe it's time for a different approach. Maybe we ought to think about bailing out the people instead. A bailout for the people. You know, the Fed, for perhaps, could create a few $100 billion with computer keystrokes, the exact same way they create money now, transfer it over to Treasury, which will then cut a check to every American citizen for $5, say maybe $10,000. Think of what that sort of thing would do for the American economy. Americans might take the money and pay down existing debt. Now, this wouldn't have an immediate impact on the economy, but consider the guy who's got $10,000 in credit card debt at 18%, and suddenly he has that slate wiped clean. He and everyone else in that position would be in a better position to start spending again. And others would indeed take the free money and plow it directly into the economy, buying big ticket items. Maybe others would use it to start a business, do some home repairs, maybe even give some to charity. The velocity of money would increase, more money would be changing hands, facilitating economic activity, jobs, and tax revenues. Now, there could well be unintended consequences from something like this. You might boost inflation, and I'm sure some people who are grievously in debt and broke now would simply take the money and fritter it away. But others might use it to strengthen their own personal balance sheet, adding durable strength to the economy. And really, could your average American be any more reckless with the money than our financial system has been? I'm sure your right-wingers would be outraged at the suggestion of a bailout for the people, but why is it somehow more moral to bail out the financial system than it is to bail out the people themselves? The banks are too big to fail. How about you? You are too big to fail. The American consumer is too big to fail, because if the American consumer fails, the economy dies. We are the consumer of last resort. Enhance that power to consume, and growth can begin anew. Restrict it with austerity, and growth remains anemic. This isn't hard, it really isn't, but I've got no illusions that the people running the show would actually do this. They're beholden to the notion that to save the economy, we have to save the biggest players in the economy. It hasn't worked yet. Here's a newsflash. It's not going to work ever. Maybe one of these days they'll understand that to save the economy, they got to save the little guy first and foremost.